Okay, guys and gals, about 10 seconds of the obligatory disclaimer. If you want to read the whole thing, just pause the video. Welcome. Let's talk about cycle analysis. We're going to use this chart that's in front of us. This is the S&P 500, but you could do this with any, well, not any, but many products or stocks or futures, okay? Commodities, okay, maybe cryptocurrency, whatever. There are many tradable products that have cycles. Now, not all of them do, but we're going to talk about one that obviously does, the S&P 500, okay? We're looking at the futures here. But stick with me on this video because I'm going to show you a piece of software that I'm working on that's going to automatically detect and draw the cycles for us, guys. So first I'm going to go through a manual process and show you how I do it. Some of you have seen this before, but just stick with me. I'll show you how I do it. And then I'm going to show you just the beginnings of the piece of software I'm working on. You guys are really going to like this, okay? It's going to be a huge benefit to my members who are already members to my service. So for those that want to join, you can first make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then once you subscribe, you can hit the join button and join the membership, okay? But this particular product I'm going to show you may be a different membership. It's going to be not the $5.99. It's probably going to be like $25 a month or even $50 a month because it's a really excellent piece of software that's going to really help a lot of people trade and make a lot of money, okay? So I'm not going to just charge $5.99 for that, but we'll get into that later. I'm not ready to talk about the subscription fees and all that for the new product, but I just want to introduce a little bit of that today. So first, let's go through this. I'm going to show you how I do it, okay? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify areas on this chart that are candidates, right, for cycles. Now, for those who are not familiar with cycle analysis, which is part of technical analysis, is one of the pieces of technical analysis. Not a lot of people know about this type of analysis. Basically, in cycle analysis, we are concerned with low points, okay? And we concern ourselves with or identify evenly placed out intervals. Okay, so let's just get started. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I'll show you how this works. This is how I do it, okay? It's a really good way to do it, by the way. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick out identifiable lows on this chart, okay? Super simple to do. Okay? So I see one right here. I can tell there's a low. I've been doing this a long time, probably about 8 years. So for me, it's easy to pick out with my eye where there are lows. You can even put a dot, like I'm just going to go along and put a dot on where I see lows are at. There's obviously one right there, so I'll put an X right here. Okay. Now this is a place on the chart, a typical place on a chart where a lot of people will miss a low because it doesn't look like one, but this is actually a cycle low. It just happens to be in a very strong rising phase, okay? But it's actually a cycle low. So we're going to put a dot right there in the middle of it, and I'll put an X down here. Okay. There's obviously one right here. There's one right here. There might even be one right there, and we can always come back to that one if we have to and put an X down here if I feel like later on it's going to help benefit in identifying cycles. There's one right here. There's another one right there. We'll go with this one for now, though it could move over to this one. Okay, it's clear to me there's one right there. These are pretty small cycles I'm picking out. You can go with bigger cycles. There's one right here. Okay. There's probably another one right here, would be my guess, since we're talking about these short cycles. Okay, that's a little bit off, so let me get the eraser here. It's a little bit off. Should be more like right here. There's clearly one right here, right? One right there. There's another one right there. So by now you should be getting a pretty good idea of, and there's one right here, right? Now these are pretty tight cycles. These are fairly small. I wouldn't always necessarily do this many cycles. This is running for about almost a full year, okay? But this would be an idea of how you could go through and identify the low points and how you're going to pick out cycles, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I may not draw a cycle for every one of these X's. On the TOS platform, which is TD Ameritrade's desktop trading software, that's what we're looking at here, the TOS platform. What you're going to do is you come to drawing, go to drawing tools, you come down, you pick this one right here. It is. That's the one. And I already chose it. You can see it right up here, right? So since I've been doing this a long time, I'm going to kind of eyeball this. I'm going to click with my mouse one time with a left click, and then you're going to drag it. And you don't even have to hold. Once you just click it once and let go, it'll maintain the drawing tool until you click it again. So I'm gonna go from this X here over to this one, because to me it looks like a natural, very natural cycle spot. But I'm not just going to guess. I'm going to look now to see, does it match up in other places. So I'm going to click again, and that's going to set this cycle in place. Right, I'll change the color here to green, which is what I normally use for daily cycles. And now we can kind of stands out better, yeah. So now what I'll do is I'll go along and I'll identify, how many times does it really hit? We're looking for this, where the cycles come together like that. We're looking, is it accurate? Well, since I pulled from this one to this one, it's obviously that's going to be accurate. But is it accurate over here? Kind of is. It hits this little one right here. But I don't consider that very accurate, but this one is. So I'm going to go through this again. I'm going to put an X wherever I think we got an accurate hit. That one, not so much. This one, yeah. This one is pretty close. Remember I talked about that could be one, so I'm okay with it. So there'd be an X right there instead. That's okay, that's good. Is this one good? No. It does hit this little one up there, but it's not very good. This one actually hit right in the middle. And we'll talk about that again some other time. It definitely hit this one. See it right here? Really good. This one is a little off. Okay. But it's not off too bad. So we'll go ahead and say that's just what we call a late running cycle. Ran a little late. And then you got this one, which comes down right about here. So close enough. So some of you already know what I'm going to do here. But I'm going to count all the X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and we're not going to count this one into cycles. Yeah, that's probably a low right there, believe it or not. Okay, so we got 7, but we missed 1, 2. We missed 2. Right, so there's 7 out of 9. That's pretty good. Okay, how many times is 9 going to 70, guys? Anybody know? Huh? It's not great, but it's decent. 9 times 8 is 72, right? So we know it's a little bit less than 80%, right? So it would be, 7 times, which is 63, am I right? Yeah. And you'd have 7 left over. You'd have 7 nines left over. That's quite a bit. So we're not going to go figure all that out. We're just going to say this is close enough to an 8, and we're going to call it 80%. It's a little bit less than 80%. Okay. So I would go through this process, maybe not this quite elaborate. I'm just putting all this on there so that everybody who's watching this video can see it. I don't go through this much elaboration because I just do it in my head kind of quick. But I might go through this process several times. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the screen. Okay, I would delete these cycles, and I'd go through it again. I know that my first time was 7 out of 9. I'm looking to improve that. Okay. And I might vary the length of the cycle even. Okay, this time, so anyway, I'm not going to go through it all again because I just wanted to give you an idea of how you can pick out cycles. Okay, normally this is done manually. Normally people go through, those of us that are involved in cycle analysis, we come through and we do this manually. Now this right now is a daily chart. See up here, daily. So often what will happen is we'll switch over to weekly. I'll pick 3-year weekly. I got a drawing set down here. I'm going to pick weekly. Okay, you see these blue half circles down here? These arcs? Well, I came in here and did this. I did this early, whenever it was last time I did it, I don't remember. Okay, but I did this before. Okay, you can see right here that this low right here is matching up with this. This lower here matches up, sorry, a little bit off, matches up with that one, right? This one matches up with this one. It's probably just a little off, but it's really close. This one matches up with this one. Everybody follow me? This one over here, way back in the pandemic, is over here. This one is here. So you can see I've gone through this, and I did the same thing I did in the daily chart. Okay, so why am I mentioning the weekly chart now? Because we want to synchronize as much as possible different time frames. Right? We want to synchronize the cycles with daily and weekly together. Now, clearly, the cycles in the daily are going to be more frequent, right? Because it's on a daily. These candlesticks represent weeks, right? 1 week, 2, 3, 4 week, 5 week, 6 week. You get me? On the days, that represents days. So you're only going to get where the cycles come down like this into this low. They're only going to match up with the daily, every so often. But that's really important that we identify, does the daily chart cycle low and the weekly chart cycle low, do they synchronize? And the more often they synchronize, or the more accurate they synchronize, the better. Because that's going to be really key to making really great profitable trades, okay? Because after all, that's what this is all about, right? Okay, so now that you've gotten kind of an idea of how, typically we would go through and switching back to daily here, would go through and, pick out cycles, right? You can see here I've already gone through some cycles. I've already laid them out for the cycles, what I think are pretty accurate. Okay, I got some big green cycles here, and I got a smaller yellow cycle in here. And I evaluate this every so often, okay, to make sure that that the cycles are still accurate, because as time goes on, those cycles will change. Okay. Now, let me show you the piece of software that I'm working on. It's in the infancy stage, so it's nowhere near finished. But let me show you the piece of software that's going to go through and manually pick out these cycles for us. That's the cool part, okay? Okay, so this is a piece of software that this actually what we're looking at here, this is called Visual Studio. For those of you that are software developers, you might be familiar with it. This language that I'm writing this application in is called C#. Okay, and hold on 1 second here. Yeah, it's complaining because I just did something while it was running. You can see some of the code behind the form there. I won't go into what all this means, but for those that are developers, not too hard to figure out. It's just some basic stuff. This doesn't get into the logic of how the cycles are chosen, because I haven't written the logic. I haven't done the algorithms yet for the logic that's going to pick the cycles. That's gonna be the big lift, right? That's gonna be the heavy duty lift. So anyway, let's run this bad boy. Now the way this works, you're gonna like this. You're really gonna like this. Let me close this. Let me pick out the piece of software. There it is right there. This is my trading software, right? This is TOS platforms or TD Ameritrade software. Now we want to make sure this is up, not minimized, right? We don't want to minimize it. We want it sitting like this. Okay. And then you can either use your mouse to come to the bottom, or you can use Alt-Shift to go back to the application. Like I said, this application is still in the infancy stage. I'm going to start the app in Visual Studio. Eventually this app would just become an exe, and we wouldn't be doing what I'm doing here, right? I'm going to minimize Visual Studio behind it. So now we just have this application running right here, this big old nasty looking form, and behind it you see the software, right? The TOS platform software, the trading software from TD Ameritrade. So keep an eye on this little drop down box right here. So I'm going to click Find Chart App. You notice it puts something here. We're going to click this. What this just did is it went through my entire computer in the memory and looked for applications that are currently running. So these are all the applications that are currently running on my machine. Okay, the visual ones that have titles. And the one I'm looking for is this one. Because remember, it says find the chart app. Well, my chart app is TOS platform. This over here, it says Thinkorswim. Probably need to make this box a little bit wider, but so I know it's this piece of software is the one I'm looking for. When I click this, what's going to happen is the logic behind this little combo box here is going to automatically bring the charting software, TOS charting software, to the into focus, if you will, and it's going to take us a picture of that app. Boom, it just brought it back. See? Isn't that cool? This is the same app we were just looking at. It just happened to have a picture of TOS Platform's chart. Now today is Saturday, so that's why you don't see anything going on here, right? Let me bring up Epic Pen here. You notice how this is just sitting here, nothing's moving, because today is Saturday, so there's no trading. Okay. So this piece of software I'm writing, it just took a picture of that software on that TOS platform. But let's say you're running different software. You know, maybe you're just whatever other software the other people run. They may not be on the TOS platform. They may not be trading with TD Ameritrade. They may be trading with some other broker and use a different piece of software. Well, what's going to happen is you'll be able to find it on this drop down. You just go and find it. Okay. And then when you choose it and you click on use your mouse and click on it, it's going to go grab whatever chart you got up and it'll put it into this piece of software I'm writing. Okay. Now, whether or not this piece of software becomes directly available to my members, I don't know yet. I'm thinking about it. Okay. It may just be serviceable on a website. I have to think about how I'm going to do all that. Okay, but like I said, this is an infancy stage. So the next thing that I got to work on, which is not done yet, but just to illustrate how this would work, if I click this, see how it drew these cycles? I'm going to clear it. Tell you what, let's go back to this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily disable the hang on a second. I think if I go to default, it'll go away. Yeah. We just want a clear screen like this, okay? This will make it a little bit easier to see. Looks like my battery's running out on my microphone, so I got to kind of finish this up. So let's do it one more time. Let's say find that. Pick the software. Whoop. It didn't find it. Looks like it just took a picture of... Okay, let me close this. It may be looking at that. Let's try it again, guys. Like I said, I'm in the infancy stage. It's still finding this stuff. Try it again. There it goes. Okay, cool. It found it. Okay, this is much better. I'm going to maximize this. There we go. It's better. Now I'm going to click Find Best Cycles. Boom. Okay. Now, is it really finding the best cycles? No. This is just me drawing some stuff in there to make sure I could actually get it to work in the software I'm writing. And I can actually draw the arcs. That's great. But it isn't picking the best cycles yet. So I'm just kind of brainstorming here, but I'm going to finish up this video by saying it might be something like another drop down like this one. Okay, where when you click Find Best Cycles, it might have like the 5 or 10 best cycles that it found on this chart. Okay, and then you would come and pick the 5. Let's say the number 1 cycle, number 2. You'd go through, just be a bunch of cycles here, in another drop down, and you would see the cycles drawn on here. You say, okay, I want to pick the first of the 5 best cycles that it found. And it might draw something like this. And you look at it and say, yeah, I like those cycles. You might come to the drop down and pick the second one. And it'll get rid of, it would clear that out and then draw another set of cycles that would be different. Okay? And eventually I might even score those cycles. I might find a way to score them and give opinions, because I don't give financial advice, and neither will any of the software I write give financial advice, but I'll give opinions and say this cycle appears to be the best cycle because it syncs up with the weekly. Okay, now I know that's useful, right, guys and gals? That is useful. Just think about it. Okay, look at this cycle low right here. Again, these green arcs don't represent real cycles, but let's just assume that this cycle here was more like over here, right? And it nailed this price decline. Let's say the cycle was more like this, right? Everybody follow me? Maybe the cycles are more like that. It'd probably go like this. Then it would probably come over to this cycle here. Maybe this one. Okay, I'm just kind of. So if it did that, would it be useful? If you could pick something on here and say, okay, go find me the best cycles. Well, of course it would. And there might be something like an annotation that comes up that says, let's just say it happens to be this cycle that might say something like the daily. Because this is a daily chart, right? The daily cycle, this one down here that we're looking at, all the way down here, it aligns, and I don't know if I'd spell it all like this, but whatever, just so you guys see in the video, aligns with the weekly cycles. Okay? And you would know, there might be like a special dot or symbol or color or something that goes here on this cycle. This cycle might be a different color on the daily chart that says, hey, this cycle is really important. It's in alignment with the weekly cycle. So as I finish up this video, I just want you to understand that this piece of software that I'm writing now, okay, which is in the beginning stages, I got a long way to go, but this is the things that I envision. This is my vision, okay, part of my vision for the membership, okay. And this is going to be a premium membership, guys. This isn't going to be the $5.99 one. Say, okay, sorry, I can't give it to you for $5.99. So there may be some people interested, and maybe some they're not. That's fine. Those that want it, great. When I get this software done, I figure out how I'm going to get it available to members and subscribers. Of course, you'll benefit from this software. Okay. Now, for those that are first-time viewers of my content here and watching this video, do I benefit from cycle analysis? You bet I do. I made a lot of money on this short side price trend right here using cycle analysis. A lot of money was made right here too. Okay, so it's extremely beneficial. And here's one that actually hit pretty good right here, right? Just as, look at this. So you would know this is the beginning of a cycle. You could take advantage of it. There's a lot more to it than that, but this is the beginning of the piece of software that I think is going to be a very powerful piece of software, as it automatically finds, so up here it says auto-generated cycles. Let me get a different color here. If I can find the colors, I don't know where here we are. Okay, way up here in the left-hand corner. See that? Auto-generated cycles. That's what this piece of software is going to do. It's going to be very powerful. It's going to help a lot of people be much better traders. Okay. I'll give updates as the software matures, becomes better and better. I'll probably use it for a little while, make sure that it's doing what I want it to do, and then I'll release it when it's ready. So there's already a subscription service available, and I do this by hand right now. So if you want that, that's $5.99. Make sure you've subscribed to our YouTube channel first, and then there's a join button down there, and then you click join. You can join. I think it's $5.99, and you'll get a link to my Discord server. You can join the Discord server. I put out some videos once in a while, like I'm doing this one, and I give my opinion on the Discord server about what I think the market's going to do. Mostly, I just cover the S&P 500 right now. It's possible I could cover other products as we move forward, but for right now, it's mostly the S&P 500, okay? All right, guys, hope you really enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you all real soon again next time.